Hello, wonderful and amazing people. I'm back. Did you miss me? I doubt it. Did you even notice I was gone? I know some of you did, and I really appreciate it. I really appreciate that you noticed I was gone. Pete Grabber, how you doing? I'm late. Oh, noticed I was gone. Pete Grabber, how you doing? I'm late. Sorry about that. I always do that. I always do it every show. All right. I hope everybody's doing well. Hope everybody's not suspended on Twitter. I'm back. I think I'm live streaming on Twitter right now. Am I, Linda? Linda, are you letting me live stream on Twitter? Am I allowed to do that again? I really appreciate it. That's really cool of you. Since you are apparently free speech is paramount on Twitter. And we're going to get into that. We're going to get into why I got suspended and all that good stuff. I made chili, guys. I did. It was really good. It's really spicy. And you know what? I'll give you the recipe. I'm happy to give you the recipe because my chili is 100% open source. So DM me if you want my wonderful chili recipe. It's got 3 beans, 3 meat, and 3 pepper. It's fabulous. So let me know. I'll hook you up. All righty. Well, if you haven't already, please go down to that like button and give it a gentle tap. I would much appreciate it. It helps the algorithm. I don't know if it does on Twitter. Who knows? I don't know how theirs is set up. I think they did something recently, though. They turned something back on that messed with the whole thing. So we'll get into it. But yeah, give the like button a tap if you could. I'd appreciate it. And, subscribe, all that good stuff. Share, tell a friend, send a carrier pigeon, all that good stuff. All right. Well, let's get into it. And let's talk about why I was suspended and why tons of people seem to be getting suspended and when it started and all that good stuff. But before we do, let's listen to people talk about, let's listen to Elon talk about his views on speech, and let's listen to Linda Yaccarino talk about her ideas on speech. And we'll see if they jive, because I don't know, guys. I'm a little skeptical. I mean, I'm like Foxer. I want to believe, but actions speak louder than words, and Elon's actions ain't jiving with his words right now. So I don't know. James Woods got taken care of, so that was cool. But I don't know. Us little people, we ain't got somebody to yell at. So we'll see how that plays out. All right, let's listen to Elon talk about some stuff. All right.
So you've got a massive platform. You have a vision that is a spectrum of just daily open sourced conversation. And they can conduct their lives, their business, their commerce, whatever they can do on your platform. That's a pretty big vision. But in the middle should be advertising opportunity. That sounds like a great opportunity. I can talk about my brand. I can get my customers to communicate, and then they could also buy stuff. It sounds pretty good.
I'm from Silicon Valley. I'm from here, and I gotta deal with people like this all the time. People that say they try to spin or say super obvious stuff and make it sound like it's super profound, but you can see what she's going to ultimately get at here. She's got an ulterior motive. They've always got an ulterior motive. And she just exudes dishonesty to me. It seems very disingenuous, but I don't want to taint her speech with my views.
Right?
You'll be able to buy things just directly on Twitter. One click, boom, done.
But they need to feel that there is an opportunity for them to influence what you're building, that vision, what we're doing here, whether it's me trying to push and prod you on your tweets.
And then comes in the ulterior motive. It would be great if people could, learn about product and buy stuff. She says it like it's supposed to be some profound idea that she's had, and then she comes in with the ulterior motive. But they should be able to influence you on your platform and how you run your operation. No. Sorry, Linda.
For example, you've said you probably shouldn't tweet after 3 a.m.
Well, I've got
Probably good advice for all of us.
I've gotten myself into trouble a few times.
I'm very aware of those. So after 3 a.m., you travel all over the world. Lord knows how you handle time zones in space. Will you commit to be a little more specific?
And this is just me spitballing here, but see, this seems like Marxist struggle session tactics to me.
And not tweet after 3 a.m. People in this room would like to see that. It'll make them feel more confident.
I will aspire to tweet less after 3 a.m. But I mean, it is important that, I mean, if I were to say, yes, you can influence me, that would be wrong. That would be very wrong. Because that would be a diminishment of freedom of speech.
But I want to be specific about influencing. It's more of an open feedback loop for the advertising experts in this room to help develop Twitter.
And again, the spin, just the condescending spin. It's not so much them influencing. It's more of a feedback loop. Even though she just use the word influence herself like a minute and 10 seconds ago or 54 seconds ago.
Into a place where they will be excited about investing more money, product development, ad safety, content moderation. That's what the influence is.
Yeah, I think it's totally cool to say that you want to have your advertising appear in certain places in Twitter and not in other places. But it is not cool to try to say what Twitter will do. And if that means losing advertising dollars, we lose it. But freedom of speech is paramount.
So that doesn't appear to be the case. It doesn't appear to be the case at all right now. And I didn't even realize I was sharing this from, or this was shared from Clint over at Liberty Lockdown. So yeah, free speech should be paramount. That's not what's happening right now. And I'll give plenty of examples of that as we go on tonight. And there's tons more that I don't have time to give, but people are getting suspended. People are getting slapped with 1-week suspensions and 24-hour suspensions, all kinds of suspensions left and right now. And the only ones that you notice are the ones with big accounts. And I have an account with like 7,500 followers and barely anybody noticed. So the only way you're going to notice people that get suspended are going to be people with like 100,000 followers or more. Like you're not going to notice. And something happened recently, but you can see they want to bring advertisers back when this whole new Twitter was sold as a model that's going to be more privatized. It's going to be more like in the hands of the user, the Twitter Blue. The whole Twitter Blue idea was like, we don't need advertisers and we don't need to be beholden to them. And the reason you don't want to be beholden to the advertisers right now is not because we have a free market that we're working within. This is all this ESG crap is going to dictate speech on this platform because they don't care about driving their businesses into the ground. Budweiser and Target are clearly demonstrating that right now. That there's an agenda, and this ESG crap is going to get jammed down everybody's throats if they allow this to continue. And it's happening right now because they want to bring back these ad dollars. And Elon brings in Linda Yaccarino and says she's going to start in 6 weeks. He says that like a week or two ago. Or however long ago it was. I remember it was right after the Tucker Carlson announcement. And this whole thing I was super excited right after the Tucker Carlson announcement. I think everybody was, because everything was going good on the Twitter front. And then all of a sudden he comes out and he announces that Linda Yaccarino, this World Economic Forum chick, is going to take over as CEO. And he says she's going to do it in 6 weeks. But almost immediately you started seeing funny stuff happen. And I noticed it with Top Lobster. And Top Lobster, if you don't follow him on Twitter, he's funny. He's a good account to follow. he tweeted out, see, and this is what's up, Wally World? See, I don't even want to. So, Wally World, if you are following on Twitter, just said something in the chat that I can't say because he said the word that I got suspended for. And he could say that on YouTube in the chat and be perfectly fine, but on Twitter, you'll get suspended for it. On Elon's new Twitter, he just said the word in the chat, and I'm streaming live on Twitter right now, so I don't want to say the word. So how much of a problem is this, right? Like, Elon also wants to drive live streaming and video on Twitter. How are you supposed to do that if I can't even say this word? Like, what I got suspended for is absurd, you guys. And other people are getting suspended for absurd stuff too. Top Lobster got suspended for something absurd. And, well, let's just say Elon said something about hiring a new person that I was just talking about a minute ago. And Top Lobster made a clear joke about, I don't even want to say it. I'm trying to think of a way to say it where I couldn't possibly get in trouble. Allegedly launching someone into space. So, yeah, it was that. He gets suspended for that. And it's, it's clearly a joke. But if there's rules, okay, whatever. But what are the rules? Nobody knows the rules. That's the thing too. If you're going to have rules, what are the rules? But Elon, according to him, when you listen to him, his rules are whatever the country's free speech laws are. So in America means you can pretty much say whatever you want. You can say some pretty horrible shit. Sorry, Shelly. You can say some really bad stuff. And, well, what I said was not bad at all. And the entire tweet, most people agree with me. Anybody that likes firearms agrees with me. But let's listen to Elon talk more. I'm just blabbering because, I was just suspended for a week. And now I can talk to you guys again. I missed you. I missed you guys so much. Not you, though, Elon. I didn't miss you. I hope you see this. I know you won't, but I hope you do. Let's listen to him talk more. I'm angry at Elon.
So, if you said to Linda that you are going to keep speaking your mind, whatever the commercial impact of that, and has she agreed?
Do you guys remember the listen, Linda, listen? Linda, listen. Do you remember that kid, that viral video from a super long time ago? Can somebody make a meme with the Linda listen meme? Can somebody do that? That would be wonderful.
To that, is she happy with that? You aligned?
Yeah.
Okay. And in her role as CEO, does she have any say over moderation, or is that under you, or do you do that together?
Well, the general principle is that we will hew close to the law. So for any given country, we will try to adhere as closely to the law as possible. Now, laws vary between countries.
Oh, that's weird. I didn't know it was against the law to say what I said. Elon or anybody else has been suspended recently.
And we can't simply flout the law in another country because they will simply cut us off. But the general principle is do whatever we can to enable.
The funny thing there, though, is if you treated another country like an advertiser, like he said to Linda, if advertisers don't want, if we lose money, so be it. Free speech is paramount. He says that. I think he just said that right now. If we lose advertisers, free speech is paramount, then so be it. Whatever, we lose advertisers. Well, if a country wants to say you can't say that, for Elon's like, well, no, you can say that on our platform. And they say, well, we're not going to allow you in our country. Elon can say, bye. Don't allow it in our country. It's just going to prove what a more of an authoritarian country they are. I get it. That's an extreme step to take. But you could. You have the option to do that. Call their bluff. Make them plus, then they got to do a bunch of crap on their end to make it so Twitter can't be used in their country. See how good their IT is. Like, so, okay, fine. You want to have that rule? You're going to abide by every different country's free speech laws? Okay, that could be a rule. I still don't even agree with that. I think the rule should be America's free speech laws. If you can say it in America, you can say it on Twitter. If a country wants to ban it, that's on them.
Free and open communications between people, provided they're not, like I said, breaking.
And she's aligned on that plan.
Yeah,
that focus.
Yeah, there is an important thing, which is like that obviously doesn't mean that, say, advertisers should be forced to appear next to any content. So we've also developed adjacency controls that ensure that if what you're advertising is like Disney, for example, is a big advertiser. If Disney is advertising a children's movie, they want the content nearby to be sort of family friendly. That's totally understandable. So
that's 100% reasonable and smart right there. The thing is, Disney doesn't want to do that. There's the ESG crap. They don't. I'll get into that later.
So it's not like advertisers have to appear next to content that they don't agree with.
And can you? So some people would say you can be a little erratic with your tweeting, or at least tweet a broad range of content. Does anybody say I don't want to be adjacent to Elon Musk? Is that something that's happened on the platform?
I've never heard that yet.
Okay.
But
and it sucks because I like Elon. Like, I genuinely like. He just seems like a fun guy to like kick it with, and I don't think the stuff that's happening right now is on him. I don't think, but I'm suspect. I have some suspicions that no, there's something else going on. But I'm hoping that. I mean, all you guys get it. All you guys that are on the right, especially people that have been kicked off of Twitter, like freaking big accounts, big libertarian accounts. Josie, the redheaded libertarian. I've heard you talk specifically about being unpersoned and it sucks and all that. When you're brought back on, it's a big deal and it's awesome and you've totally blown up and it's great. And I want to believe that what Elon is doing is righteous and he's standing up for us, for the little guy. And he does believe in all this stuff. But the moves that have been made recently and the things that are happening on Twitter, whether it's algorithmically or done manually or a mixture of both, it's not lining up with what he claims his ideals are right now. And that sucks because I like Elon. He seems like a fun guy. And I like autistic-y type people. And he's got like Asperger's. And I like really smart, weird people. They're like my favorite. And well, I hope he's righteous, man. It's heartbreaking. It's freaking heartbreaking. All the liberals are freaking loving it, though. It's a constant back and forth, isn't it? Let's listen to a lefty talk about his views of the hire of Linda Yaccarino. Yeah, Wally World. Freaking Renaissance Fair LARPers. Yeah, dude, I can't say the word. I want to say the word. I can't say it. And yeah, Terry Wallace, James Woods. Yeah, I got his tweet pulled up. I'll get to that in a little bit. So James Woods got suspended and he just tweets out. I don't know. Somehow he tweeted out, but I don't understand how you tweet out if you're suspended. But he got a hold of Elon Musk somehow, and he's like, I don't understand how this happened. Anyway, we'll get into that in a minute. But let's listen to this goofball talk about Linda Yaccarino. What a great addition she's going to be to the Twitter team. Right. Not buying it. There it is. All right. Let's listen to this goofball talk.
think this would be a home run hire, given her NBCU background and digital media. They need an advertising executive. I think this is the right move at the right time. This is someone that's going to be much more aggressive on advertising, really trying to monetize the platform, and ultimately, after what's been a very shaky 6 months, get advertisers back onto the platform. That's going to be front and center. Tesla investors are popping champagne that Musk is giving up his CEO role. It's been an overhang on the stock, and I think it really comes to the right time as he needs to concentrate more and more on Tesla as well as SpaceX. And I think it's an overhang and now gets removed from the story. I think this would be a home run hire.
All right, so you can see the game, the play to bring Linda on board here is to bring in advertising. And Elon's too smart to not be aware of this, to not be aware of the whole ESG crap. I've heard him talk about it, I swear. And yeah, he's well aware of it because, like, I think Tesla was left off the list, or like Elon's one of the most environmentally friendly Tesla. That company is one of the most environmentally friendly companies according to their ESG criteria, right? I'm not talking about the cobalt mines and all that stuff. We're not going to get into that. I'm not saying that it is environmentally friendly. I'm saying according to their criteria, and they leave them off the list. It's because their ESG is like a woke criteria. It's a score based on a set of woke criteria, and the lower your score is, the less the BlackRock people want to invest with you, basically, and advertisers that are also part of this same system. So if Twitter has a low ESG score, advertisers aren't going to want to come in. So I feel like Linda's MO here is to come in and raise the ESG score of Twitter. I don't know. Like, he's trying to bridge this gap, but he who serves two masters disappoints both. You can't be trying, like, I get it if Twitter's going to die without advertisers, like, okay, realize what you're doing. You're tossing aside everything that you said. I guess Twitter Blue isn't, I guess there's not enough Twitter Blue subscribers, so he has to bring in advertisers. Maybe he's just running out of runway, and the company's going to run out of money, and he has to do this. I don't know. It's not good. It's not good what people are getting suspended for, and it doesn't line up at all with what he claims his free speech policy is supposed to be. Yeah, let's listen to Linda herself talk and listen to who she's talking about. Actually, hold on really quick. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, because everything she says is suspect, to me at least. Linda, listen.
You think about it, I think it was the CEO of BlackRock 3 years ago. So before the pandemic, before the awful social crisis, and he talked about calling CEOs to attention, right, all over the world, that companies in the private sector had a bigger responsibility to both their employees and their customers to fulfill a gap in society that it was once assumed that the government would provide for people. So
hold up, pump the brakes. What are you talking about? So this is stakeholder capitalism, what they're trying, which is freaking Marxism. It's you guys go down this rabbit hole. If there's any rabbit holes you go down the ESG rabbit hole, and so much stuff will make sense why they're making the moves that they're making, because it doesn't make sense from a shareholder standpoint, from a profit standpoint. Then you start realizing where their money's actually coming from, where their funding's actually coming from, and who owns what.
it was a call, you used the word to service. I would say it was also called to purpose, right? So we had a responsibility to impact culture for the good. And the bottom line is when you have those priorities and values as a company, it's good for business. It inspires your employee population to want to be proud. They're proud to work at your company. They bring other good people to your company, but it's also good.
And that's BS. That's crap. What it does is it creates a cult mentality within your company, and it allows for one line of thinking, and anybody that falls outside of that line of thinking will be ostracized and ultimately pushed out of the company. I just played the video on my last stream of the Target executives talking about all their woke nonsense and how everybody's got to fall in line with it. And if they don't have to agree with it, but they have to do it. They have to have, and they're talking about like their diversity quotas that they have and how their idea of representation, and it's not everyone else's idea of representation. It's not representation based on a business model where there used to be ideas where it's like you got I don't know, you'd bring in tons of people from different disciplines to try and solve one problem, even if those disciplines had nothing to do with the problem being solved. And that was your diversity, was all the different disciplines, because the thought behind it was somebody is they're outside the box and they're looking at it from like a fresh set of eyes and from a different thought process. Like I've been an AV guy, audio video. So I always look at things from like an AV perspective, a troubleshooting perspective, like systems. We deal with lots of systems, lots of automation systems. And if something breaks, something stops working, first thing you figure is like, okay, was something new introduced into the system? And if there was, you remove that and see if that fixes the problem, and so on. It's a troubleshooting process. But anyway, I don't even know where I was going with that. I lost it. Yeah, that kind of sucks. All right, we'll go to the next video. Okay. I didn't even realize that was part of the tweet. Yeah, we'll watch Twitter's new CEO, Linda Recchino, praising BlackRock CEO Larry Fink for introducing the World Economic Forum's ESG policy. Yeah, see, I didn't even read the freaking tweet, but you can recognize, and once you learn about this ESG crap too, you recognize them talking about it. It's frightening, to say the least. Oh yeah, sorry. Talking about bringing people in from different disciplines. The idea was, people looking at it from through that lens, so it might be better at solving the problem. So that was your diversity, to people from different disciplines. Now the diversity is something much different. It's all based on race, gender, and sexual orientation, which used to, you wanted to have that nothing to do with the hiring process. It's absurd. Everything is backwards from when I very first started working, essentially, back in the late 90s. That stuff should have nothing to do with the hiring process. And it's becoming everything to do with the hiring process. It's quite insane. All right. Well, that's my first deck that I got through. What do I got next year? All right. So yeah, let's go to why I got suspended, shall we? You guys might be able to make out what the word was, but I'm not going to say it. I'm not going to say the word, you guys. Let's see. Okay, this is mine. All right, so I was just responding to somebody talking about how James Woods got booted. What? How'd this happen? I did not mean to do that. Wrong one, guys. My bad. I put these in an order for a reason. don't know if this got out of order, but apparently I changed the order I wanted to present this in. So I was showing you guys the correct thing right now. All right. Well, I'll go back to my tweet then. I responded directly to Elon earlier as if, he's going to see my tweet. But sometimes I wonder if he does, because he not my tweet or but random replies to his tweets, because that dude never seems to sleep. And he seems to be aware of a lot of things, quickly. Sometimes I think he sees them. Oh, okay. Well, I guess I will go to this. So I was replying to James Bradley. He says, "Oh, look, Linda Yaccarino takes over Twitter, and within days, James Wood's account is suspended for sharing a video of a black kid beating up a white kid, something that is not a violation of terms of service. And of course, the conservative censorship is starting right before election." Yeah, that's another point too. All this stuff is ramping up right before election. Elon Musk, will you allow Twitter's dark history of censoring conservative to repeal itself? So this is probably what happened. Elon probably saw big accounts talking about how James Wood was currently censored. And then, oh yeah, and okay, so yeah, Elon fixed it, and he says he's not sure why it happened, but I'll get to that in a minute. So here's my tweet, guys. I don't know if you want to see it. Yeah, I'm not even going to say it on Twitter. And the tweet that I'm showing right now is I blacked out. I redacted it. I had to redact it for you guys because, Linda might kick me off. And yeah, so that's I don't even want to read it to you guys. But that's the tweet. It was for hateful conduct. Calling somebody a silly, ignorant word that starts with a W and ends with a CH, and it's not a witch. It's not like a wicked witch. It's not that word. It's something that the waitress, if you ever go to Medieval Nights, I think that's what it's called, Medieval Times, the restaurant, the waitress that brings you your beers, she's called a beer W word, and that's the word I got suspended for, apparently, on Twitter. So remember, Elon's rule was he's going to go as close to the law as possible. I'm pretty sure the First Amendment allows me to call someone that word. We are so far down the line of censorship at this point. If you're trying to protect people from that, I don't know. You got a lot of issues to fix. And this seems algorithmic to me. So what did they turn on? What did they change? Because something happened recently. So there's clearly something happened recently. Something changed. And it happened right after the announcement of Linda. So I don't know, man. This is quite interesting to me. But that's what I got suspended for. And we'll look at what a bunch of other people got suspended for as well. Yeah, we'll go to James. We'll go to the James Woods reply right now. Yeah, that's what we'll do. Because I think we already saw what he got suspended for. I think I just read it. Oh yeah, he shared the video. The video is and everybody thought it was a teacher at first. Everybody thought it was an adult beating up. It was two girls. There's a little white girl and a giant black girl. This girl, I mean, the kid was tiny, so the girl was probably 5'10" and big, like a big woman, and just slapping the crap out of this kid. Well, I don't know if there was a slap, but I think there was a slap, knocking the kid to the ground, hard, just tossing the kid around like a rag doll. Anyway, here's James Wood. That's what James Wood shared, and that got him suspended apparently. And then Elon Musk here. Let's see. So Elon Musk replied saying not sure what happened, and okay. James Wood originally, he tweeted out, "It started already. My account was locked today for a video of an older, much bigger black student brutally assaulting a small white female child. Was allegedly a violation of Twitter's terms of service. We all know this isn't about privacy. Faces blurred explanation." Oh yeah, the faces were blurred in the video too. So that's like it's how could that possibly, why? His account was just locked. Mine was suspended for a week. And then I appealed immediately, and within 5 minutes, they said no. And I talked about that on one of my last streams, which you guys missed because I was suspended. But you could go back and watch all 3 episodes if you want. But yeah, when I appealed the tweet that I got suspended for, within 5 minutes, it was denied, saying no. It was just okie day. Well, all right. So Elon says, he replies to James Wood, says not sure why this happened. And then James Wood says, he retweets him and says, "I'm astonished that you responded so quickly. You're making it unequivocally clear that censorship is an issue and you genuinely take to heart. That censorship is an issue that you genuinely," didn't say that. "Unequivocally clear that censorship is an issue you genuinely take to heart. I'm so impressed with what you've done for this forum. I trust you'll get to the bottom of why this happened. Thank you." Okay, you're much nicer and more professional than I am, James Woods. Maybe that comes with age and wisdom and professionalism, but us little folks, we don't got any recourse, James Woods. I don't know how you got your account out of purgatory, but there's plenty of people that right now their account is just suspended. I wonder how many people got nuked, how many accounts they're just gone. So Elon says, well, I replied to James Woods with my tweet and said, "What do us little people do?" But I'm gonna go back to Elon's tweet. Not sure why this happened, because I replied to him with I have a pretty good idea what happened. It rhymes with Winda Yakashmino. And I also attached my tweet. Somewhere else I have a tweet where I had people send me screenshots of what they got suspended for. And I got 4 different ones that I'll show you guys. And they're all stupid. Tons of different people sent me them. I just picked out like the 4 ones I thought were best. So yeah, so James Woods, replying to James Woods, and he got his out of purgatory. But that's how people started kind of noticing this stuff. But I started noticing this back when Top Lobster got suspended, almost immediately after Linda got hired, or announced that she got hired, because from what Elon first said, she shouldn't be taking over for another like 4 or 5 weeks. So I don't know what's going on. I don't know. Maybe people are trying to be preemptive about Linda. Okay. So Elon got into it earlier with what's his face? The guy kind of annoys me too. What's his name? I forget. Yeah, Matthew Iglesias. Yeah, so I'm going to share that one really quick. Because I didn't even read his article, but I got it pulled up, and we're going to get into it. Because it goes back to what Elon was talking about earlier about each country. And my point that I was making about he could choose to tell those countries no, if he's so pleased. But, so Matthew Iglesias tweeted out, "I'm a free speech absolutist." And then he shared his article that he wrote. Or no, it's not even his article. I'm sorry. It's somebody else's article. It says, under Elon Musk's, Twitter has approved 83% of censorship requests. The social network has restricted. I got the article pulled up. We'll read it a little bit later. The social network has restricted and withdrawn content critical of ruling parties in Turkey, India, and among other countries. And Elon gets triggered and says, "You're such a numbskull. Please point out where we have an actual choice, and we will reverse it." Well, you always have a choice, right? You could tell the countries to go F themselves, and yeah, they'll remove Twitter from the country, apparently, allegedly. I don't know. Call their bluff. See what happens. You have that option. So. Okay, I just pointed it out where you had a choice. That is your choice, So sure, I get it. If that's your policy, you're going to go, okay, fine. Then that's your rule. You're going to go as close to the country's policies as possible. But I feel like the word that I got suspended for a week for, I'd be able to say that in any of these countries. I don't think they'd be too upset about it. So he says, "You're such a numbskull. Please point out where we had an actual choice." And I had to reply to him because I'm annoyed. Your platform is worse than when you took over. Now we have to pay you not to be shadow banned, but you can still do the same crap to us. Your incredibly vague terms of service and arbitrary enforcement is worse than ever. So that's the thing too. He's basically created a tier system now in Twitter where before you had a 2-tier system, right? You had the blue check people and you had the non-blue check people. And that was it. And now he's created this new tier system where he's made it very clear that you get your tweets get elevated if you have a blue check. If you subscribe to Twitter Blue, your tweets get elevated. You're going to get more views, all that kind of stuff. So he's always obviously done something algorithmically there. And then the thing is, you can still get, it seems, shadow banned under Twitter Blue. You got to click show more for tweets, and there's Twitter Blue subscribers down there. So you're still kind of shadow banned. You're still suppressed. So you've created a 2-tier system within Twitter Blue, and then you have the non-Twitter Blue Twitter users. And there's a 2-tier system within there as well. And it's insane. Well, there's actually a 3-tier system because Elon pays for certain people himself, right? Because he wants them to be Twitter Blue subscribers. So Elon, I didn't even really think about it until right now. Elon's actually amplifying individuals himself with money. The algorithm would de-amplify those people otherwise if he didn't pay for their Twitter Blue. So that's kind of funny. So you have a 4-tier system now. You got a 2-tier Twitter Blue system and a 2 or 3-tier non-Twitter Blue system. And it's insane. That's worse than it was before. And it seems I don't know. The arbitrary enforcement of these rules seems even worse because, let's go to the pictures, the screenshots that I pulled up of stuff people got. These are the things people got suspended for. So this is, hey, Pete Grabber, I'm pulling up yours right now. So yeah, this is Pete Grabber. What is Latinx on Twitter? And he's replying to Elon Musk, David Sachs, Ron DeSantis, and and Linda Yaccarino. Oh, okay. So you're replying to all the big shots. I like David Sachs. Freedom of speech has left since your arrival. In your defense, the Kardashians are advertising their show now. I'd call you an evil. Oh, the same word I got suspended for. Yeah, I remember that earlier. But that gets you banned now. And then, it shows hateful conduct. You may not directly attack people on the basis of race, ethnicity, national origin, caste, sexual orientation, gender identity, religious affiliation, age, disability, or serious disease. So would that be caste? Because I didn't even realize, but the second definition of that word is a prostitute. And I didn't even know that. I thought it was a somewhat degrading word to call a female servant, somebody that's like a waitress, But anyway, so that's what got this person suspended. And it's funny. That is a funny word to call somebody, I think. And that's insane. So again, Elon's criteria, his free speech criteria for his platform, as close to the law as possible. Tell me how far this diverges from the law here. Freedom of speech has left since your arrival. In your defense, the Kardashians are advertising their show now. I'd call you an evil blank, but that gets you banned now. And then bam, it was a suspension, hateful conduct. Oh, that is raw. That is rough. That's freaking funny, though. It's hilarious because he's responding to the CEO, too. Linda, what's your problem, man? Why you gotta be like that, Linda? Man, that is rough. Elon, for real, like, you need to check Elon. I'm sorry, Elon. You need to check Linda. Like, what is going on? This whole thing is suspect, and my spidey sense is tingling. Let's go to another one. What's another one somebody got suspended for here? Okay, so this is Twatty Von Beauty, and all the tweet says is transgender is a mental illness ipso facto. That's the tweet. Oh, maybe I shouldn't have read the tweet because that isn't. I have the DSM-5 sitting right there, the Diagnostical Statistical Manual of Mental Health Disorders. If you go to the DSM-5 and open it up, you can go to gender dysphoria. It is a mental disorder. By definition, transgender is a mental illness, ipso facto. Hateful conduct. You may not promote violence against, threaten, or see, they brought back, like, I remember seeing these back in the day, this pre-Elon stuff. And what's happening? What did you guys turn back on? What switch did you flip? What happened? Something happened. Linda, what did you do, Linda? Oh, man. Ipso facto. All right. What's this next one we got a suspension for? You wouldn't believe what got me a lockout. Ridiculous. No cussing, no insults. Oh, yeah. She wouldn't tell me because she didn't want to say it. And then this Marie lovely lady responds with me too for 7 days. I called a crazy liberal a D-bag, as in water carrier. That's it. Okay, so you can't call somebody a douchebag on Twitter. That's freaking insane. Like, this is what's going on, people. This is very divergent from Elon's idea or criteria of free speech. And this is just my tweet again. And I'll read my tweet. Actually, I'll keep out the word. Now that we know what the word is that got me suspended, thank you, Pete Grabber. That appears to be the word that triggered the algorithm here. But I have all sorts of things in the algorithm here. First of all, I was replying to a chick named Cheryl under POTUS's tweet. So that's sort of, okay. And there's all sorts of buzzwords in there to trigger the algorithm. But tell me if you disagree with what I say here. Teach your kids to shoot and not be scared of their own shadows. You teaching them to live in fear is much more of a threat to them than my firearms. You silly, ignorant word that starts with a W that will get you banned on Twitter. 1 week suspension. That's what I got a 1 week suspension for. So I still believe that statement wholeheartedly, and no, I think you should be able to call somebody that word. There's filters, there's the block button, there's the mute button for a reason. Why do you need Linda to protect you from the W word? Are you kidding? Linda, you need to chill. This is out of control. I don't know what you're doing, but you are out of line, lady. Linda, listen. Listen, Linda. Can somebody please make that meme? Somebody please make the Linda listen meme. It's going to be great if you do it. I promise. Just do it. It'd be hilarious. Okay. What do we got next? All right. Let's actually go to that article that Elon and Iglesias were beefing about. Yeah, I don't even need to pull it up. Let me just read it. So, really quick. Okay, yeah, I'm gonna close that tweet. Let's just read this article that Iglesias and Musk started beefing over. So, This is from El Pais, LPAIS. I think I pronounced that right. Written by Maria Antonia Sanchez Vallejo. Jeez. Okay, that's a mouthful. And when was this written? May 24th. Okay, 4 days ago. All right. Since Elon Musk acquired Twitter in a tumultuous $44 billion deal completed last October, the social network has turned down a few requests for content restriction or censorship from countries like Turkey and India, which have recently passed laws limiting freedom of speech and the press. Although the billionaire owner of SpaceX and Tesla presents himself as a free speech absolutist, the social network he controls has bowed to hundreds of government orders during his first 6 months at the helm. According to the data provided by the company to a public audit that tracks pressure from governments or judges on online platforms. The most recent example was the blocking of accounts critical of President Recep Tayyip Erdogan 2 days before elections held in Turkey last Sunday. That's interesting too. Like, okay, so if Erdogan says, hey, you guys need to suppress these particular things in Turkey, and it's the Turkish government. What are you going to do? I feel like same rule applies. No, tell them to kick rocks. You're affecting elections at that point. Who cares if it's in a different country? Like, make them censor it. Make them censor it on their end. Then people that are voting will at least see that they're censoring it, and that might show, like, they might not. I don't know. I don't agree with this. I don't agree with this. And if you say, show me where we had a choice, I'm telling you again, I believe this is your choice. You can tell them to kick rocks, right? What am I missing? Why? How is it that you can't tell Turkey to kick rocks if they tell you to censor stuff? Establish what your rules are. Say, hey Turkey, hey Erdogan, these are our rules. You want to abide by them? No, we don't like these sets of your rules. Kick rocks. Peace. Censor our platform. I'm still going to offer it, like you guys do your whole IP blocking, however you do that, whatever crap you guys do, but make them do it on their end. You have that option, unless I'm missing something. And unless I'm completely missing something. Okay, so before the elections. In India, which is immersed in an autocratic drift that for months has been choking the media, journalists and critical voices. In India, which is immersed in an autocratic drift that for months has been choking the media, journalists and critical voices, Twitter has also seconded government bans to justify the consent. Musk said, the rules in India for what can appear on social media are quite strict, and we can't go beyond the laws of a country. And in doing so, put his staff at risk, he added. If we have a choice of either our people going to prison or complying with the laws, we will comply with the laws. Okay, I understand. So you have employees in that country working on the ground in that country. Okay. There's got to be then what's your option then, Elon? Well, I guess we're pulling Twitter out of your country. Like, dude, if you want to go full balls to the wall on this, you want to be a free speech absolutist, put your money where your mouth is. Well, you already have. I get it. $44 billion is a lot of money. Well, put your balls where the wall is. That term's not even sexual. It's actually from pilots. It's putting the balls of the throttle to the wall. It has nothing to do with sex. It has nothing to do with balls. Just a sidebar. So that... you still got an option. I get what you're saying. Don't put your people at risk ever. Do not put your people at risk. You got people there now. You got to abide by their laws. Okay, I get it. Fine, that's fair. 100% fair. Don't put your people at risk, but figure it out, dude. Figure it out. Like, do you want to be a free speech absolutist or not? You want to be in the club or not? This is liberty, Elon. You are not being very liberty-minded here. Maybe you are. Maybe there's things I'm unaware of, but Linda is suspect, man. Anyway, well, I think you get the gist of that article. What Oh no, let's read a little more. Let's see what else they've done. So I get the India thing. So let's say Musk said he was unaware what exactly happened over the content situation in India, but it seems certain now that New Delhi ordered Twitter to remove all publications that included images or links to a video of the documentary, which questioned the leadership of Hindu nationalist Modi during the Gujarat riots of 2002, when he was chief minister of when he was chief minister of that state, and in which at least 1,000 Muslims lost their lives, a figure activists put at 2,500. Among the content removed by Twitter were comments by a local parliamentarian. See, that sucks. That's some freaking Tiananmen Square shit to suppress right there. Like I don't jive with that, Elon. I get it. You can't put your people at risk, but figure it out, bro. Okay. According to the NGO Reporters Without Borders, press freedom in India has declined drastically, failing 8 points over the past year to replace the country 150th in international ranking. This led to incidents such as the search for 2 local BBC offices after the documentary was blocked in the raid by tax authorities. In Turkey, most of the national media is controlled by the government, and opposition has accused the Erdogan administration of attempting to rein in social networks, the last stronghold of critical voices. Twitter acquiesces to autocratic or non-liberal regimes is not an exaggeration by critics of the social network. The data which public audits received automatically speaks for itself. Since Musk's takeover, the company has received 971 requests from governments compared to only 338 in the 6-month period from October 21 to April 2022. The fully exceeding the 808 of them and partially exceeding to 154 in the year prior to Musk taking control. Twitter agreed to 50% of such requests, in line with the compliance rate indicated in the company's last transparency report. None have published since October 2024. Following the change of ownership, that figure has risen 83%, according to the analysis of the data by the technology information portal Rest of the World. Okay, so this is all pertaining, just 100% to requests from foreign governments. And that's a whole other slippery slope, can of worms, hairy thing I haven't put too much thought into yet, but you always have an option. All right, Pete Crabber, got you. Yeah, you guys get the gist of the article. It seems that requests from foreign governments to suppress speech on Twitter has gone up by 83% since Elon Musk's takeover. Allegedly, according to that article, Matthew Iglesias shares it, says free speech absolutist, obviously being tongue-in-cheek, and Elon gets triggered and calls him a numbskull and says where he had a choice. Well, all right, Elon, I guess I'm a numbskull too, because it feels like you have a choice, dude. I mean, I get it, the countries that you have employees in. What about the countries where you don't have any Twitter employees there? All there is the Twitter social network itself. I mean, you're not putting anybody I don't get it, bruh. It's not making sense, man. The math ain't mathing. It's not jiving, Elon. All right, let's see what Twitter safety has to say about all these recent bans, because it seems that there's other crap going on too. Like, not just people on the left, or not just people like conservatives. It's not oopsies. It looks like a bunch of, like, I don't know, maybe it's anime folk that got suspended, because this is kind of funny, because it's a bunch of like it's a bunch of like art, People are getting banned for art. So Twitter safety comes out and says the Twitter safety team are investigating a ban wave that began yesterday. Users report that many of their bans are for art accounts, and art accounts banned incorrectly for evading suspension. And this is an example that they used to Ella. She's the Twitter safety lady, Ella Irwin, and I tweeted her. She didn't respond, but I don't know. Maybe because this lady was much more nice than I was, but okay. So they are at least looking into it. They claim checking on a ban wave. Yeah, because something happened. Somebody changed something. It's very clear. Somebody changed something. Somebody turned something back on. Somebody wrote some new code. Somebody did something funky on your guys' end, and it's messing up a whole bunch of people. And I don't know. The timing is suspect. So, like, it can be like an AV person that deals with complex systems. When you introduce something new into a system, and all of a sudden the system stops functioning properly, we'll remove that thing from the system. The new thing in the system seems to be Linda. I don't know. It's just me. I could be wrong. I don't know if this feels like Elon has been leveraged financially because he doesn't have enough he doesn't have enough Twitter Blue subscribers, and now he needs advertisers back desperately. The thing is, advertisers are all about that ESG crap, and they'll just get them by the balls, just like they had the other Twitter by the balls. I don't know. Are we better off than when the FBI was running things? Okay, and this is another tweet just showing a bunch of random art accounts that they got suspended. But yeah, the art's actually been taken down, so you can't even see it. So yeah, a bunch of people for random art accounts are being taken down. So that for suspension evasion is the reason that they're being given, not hateful conduct, suspension evasion. That is weird. So that sounds like some copyright crap. What did they do recently? Like, I don't know. It seems very strange. All right. We're gonna go back in time, back to when Noam Chomsky was like a free speech absolutist for liberals, and this was like a liberal perspective, a leftist perspective, and there's clear reasoning behind it. And Noam Chomsky has changed very much, especially with how authoritarian he became during COVID. But back in the day, he used to say some righteous ass shit, and this was one of those times. Sorry, Shelley.
I do not think that the state ought to have the right to determine historical truth and to punish people who deviate from it. I'm not willing to give the state that right, even if they happen to.
But are you denying that the gas chambers never existed?
But I'm saying if you believe in freedom of speech, you believe in freedom of speech.
See, and that's what they do. So anytime you stick up for someone that says something horrible and you stick up for their right to say that something horrible. So somebody says something horrible on Twitter and then they get suspended. And you're like, wait, why are you suspending this person? And they're like, wait, so you agree with them? No. Like, that's what this guy just did right there. So wait, you think that he said something about, he said, wait, so you are a Holocaust denier? Like, no, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that even those idiots have the right to say their idiotic stuff. And then you say why they're idiots, and you put it on full display for everyone to see. That's how speech works. That's how it's supposed to work. That's the idea behind this. He'll explain better than I will.
Speech for views you don't like. I mean, Goebbels was in favor of freedom of speech for views he liked. right? So is Stalin. If you're in favor of freedom of speech, that means you're in favor of freedom of speech precisely for views you despise. Otherwise, you're not in favor of freedom of speech. There's two positions you can have on freedom of speech. Now, you can decide which position you want. With regard to my defense of the utterly offensive, the people who express utterly offensive views, I haven't the slightest doubt that every commissar says, you're defending that person's views. No, I'm not. I'm defending his right to express them. The difference is crucial, and the difference has been understood outside of fascist circles since the 18th century.
Is there anything like objectivity, scientific objectivity, reality? As a scientist,
look, I'm not saying I defend the views. If somebody publishes a scientific article, which I disagree with, I do not say the state ought to put him in jail, right?
All right, but you don't have to support him right away and say, I support him just for the sake of everybody's.
See, again, it's so simple-minded. It's just immediately what they go to. And that is the whole point of the free speech argument. It's so easy to defend the right of somebody you agree with to speak. It's so easy to defend their right. It would be like if Antifa people started getting kicked off Twitter all of a sudden for whatever they were saying, and the right was cheering for it. No. Like back in the day, one of the original people that got canceled was like one of the OG cancellations that sort of like started off this whole cancel culture. It started off on the right. It was the Dixie Chicks. Remember that? The Dixie Chicks came out and they started being anti-war about Iraq, talking about we had no business going there. They got canceled. Bush went after them. They got canceled. Like their concerts started getting canceled. All sorts of crap. It wasn't cool. They were like the OG canceled people. Sorry, hold on. Sorry, folks, I had to cough there. So, yeah, that's good old Noam Chomsky talking about it. And, well, let's listen to Elon agree with Noam Chomsky and just see how this doesn't make sense. Like, none of the actions that are taking place and things that are happening on Twitter align with what Elon claims his mission is. None of that stuff is adding up. There's a major problem. There's a major disconnect somewhere. I don't know. I don't think you need somebody to bring in advertising. Well, yeah, you do need somebody to bring in advertising, but you need somebody to go to these advertisers and say, look, we're not going to play ball with your ESG crap. End of story. We will work with you to put your ads next to where you want them, all that kind of crap. But this is our line in the sand. If you don't want to play ball, peace, kick rocks. And you need somebody with the balls to tell these advertisers that. And go after other advertising that may not be on Twitter already. You need to have the balls to say no. And it doesn't seem like that's the person you put in place. That doesn't seem like that to me, at least. I don't know. Because the stuff you're saying isn't aligning. The stuff that's happening on Twitter isn't aligning with what you claim your mission for Twitter is. Let's listen to what you think about the importance of free speech.
I really can't emphasize this enough. We must protect free speech. And free speech only matters, it's only relevant when it's someone you don't like saying something you don't like, because obviously speech that you like is, that's easy. So it's the thing about censorship is that for those who would advocate it, just remember at some point that will be turned on you.
Okay, so what's happening? Why is any of this happening? Because this isn't like we just need to be better at figuring out what the rules are, this and that. This is a major disconnect. This is a huge, like, Elon, you're over here and your Twitter rules are way over here. Nothing is adding up. There's major problems. It's systemic what's going on. I don't know if you're aware of it, but there's a lot of liberty folk that are just, like a lot of people jumped down Matthew Iglesias' throat there about him sharing that article and saying free speech. He's making a solid point from what I see. I understand Elon's argument back and forth, but there needs to be a Twitter Spaces about this. There needs to be a conversation about this. And I think we need to hear from the little people because that can present their case. The people that don't have a voice that are getting censored, people that are on their 5th or 6th account. I mean, I get it if you want to have certain rules, like you can't tell somebody that they should go off themselves. I get it. Like, that's one of the worst things you could say to somebody, I think. I personally still think you should be able to say it. I think Twitter should be the wild effing West. I'm sorry. There's filters, there's a block button, and there's a mute button. If Elon wants to give people a safe Twitter experience, and make people feel warm and fuzzy, get really good, put a lot of time into those filters and make them really customizable, and then put a lot of time into tutorials and showing people how to use those filters. Because I get it. There's people that don't want to be called a C word or whatever, but you should be able to call somebody a C word. You're going to see some awful anti-Semitic stuff. You're going to see some awful racist stuff. You're going to see some awful sexist stuff. If it's legal, according to you, Elon, to the country, in the country that it's being said in, it should be able to be said. What's happening? The rules are over here. Your mission statement is over here. Your ideals are over here. What's happening on Twitter is way over here. And it seems like this is Linda, this is you. How are you going to bridge that gap? What's going on? I don't know. I don't see this working. I don't see this relationship working, Elon. I don't like Linda. I'm not a huge fan of Linda, Elon, if you can't tell already. How do we get way over there? Okay. Yeah, that's the last one for that, I believe. Am I done railing about Twitter? No, I'm not. Dang it. Okay. So I'm hoping that this is just a major disconnect. Something got messed up. This could get ironed out. This could be fixed. Maybe. I don't know. But there could be something else going on. And we have to consider the idea that Elon could be lying through his teeth. And this could be one giant honey trap to get, people back on Twitter and get data for his crazy Neuralink stuff. I don't know. Have to at least consider it. I'm not saying that's what's happening, but it could be. So I don't know. It's not lining up, guys. So let's listen to Whitney Webb because I like her and yeah, she's usually pretty good. Let's listen to what she has to say about Elon. Played a little bit of her stuff last week, or what was that? Last Friday. But we'll go to her again. This is her talking about Glenn Beck. The music is kind of annoying in this. This is from The Blaze. Yeah, I hope they don't get mad at me for using their content here. Hey, Glenn Beck and Whitney Webb, I'm going to borrow your stuff really quick, but it's because of a point I'm trying to make, so don't flag it, all right? Let me play this on my stream because it's good. It's really good what you guys put out here.
System, it's mega city, smart city model. We will fail.
Except for the piano. The piano's super annoying. Was that you, Glenn? Whoever did that, that piano's annoying as hell.
And then you have people like Elon Musk coming in and saying, I'm going to take over Twitter for free speech. And then he also says, I want to make Twitter into basically like WeChat, which is, basically a surveillance app to use in China. That's for your finances, your social media, pretty much everything is on that app. They even call it the everything app, and that's his model. And the parent company of that, Tencent, is one of Tesla's shareholders and, most active advisors. So is that data going to stay, that he's going to get from Twitter, the new Twitter, when it becomes a WeChat equivalent? Where's that going to go? I think the former head of that was Moncef Slaoui, who was in charge of Operation Warp Speed. And their focus is what they call bioelectronic medicine, which is, injectable nanotechnology that can manipulate your central nervous system. What are the implications of that? We have the person that just purchased Twitter, making a brain chip company. Mm-hmm. He's also a major contractor to the U.S. military. He has a major conflict of interest with Chinese Silicon Valley equivalents like Tencent. He says, and I love this, he says, that's one of the reasons why I want to get off the planet. He says his work is to find a way to compete against the transhumanistic, folly. You don't believe that at all? I don't buy it. No. Okay. If you look at that company, they had animal trials. Many of the monkeys that was tested and died after the brain chip was put in. If that were my company, I would reformulate everything or shut it down if it was going to kill that many animals. But it's already moved into human trials. I mean, even though it's killing all the monkeys. Well, it killed many monkeys. I forget the exact number, but a significant portion. This is where it gets frightening. Well, it's tied up with depopulation, right? You have this being sort of the new path of eugenics. And so, I don't think these people ultimately care about, how many people are left, right? You be resilient and not have to, because the system is just so unacceptable. It's really not just it's not just against freedom and all sorts of other values, right? It's against nature, it's against life, really. And so, if you're going to support that, I think people have to realize the consequences that come with that and exactly what it means when you are willing to give yourself over that kind of system, the implications of that. And I think a lot of people don't really realize that or take the time to think about it. And I think they should. Are you God-driven? Is God a center of you? Yeah, but I tend to think of maybe God differently than most Christians. I don't really see it as a person or as a man. I see it as maybe the universe or the creative force, right? The energy that drives all life. I can go with George Lucas and the Force. Right. It's the There's a lot of different ways, to look at it. But ultimately, if you're looking at humanity, what do you like about humanity? It's the creativity. It's the vivaciousness. That's the stuff that I think we're fighting for. A lot of the guys behind this want to eliminate that. I think a lot of transhumanism is aimed at creating like a drone-like workforce that will never be able to challenge their working conditions or ask for a bigger piece of the pie.
What do you think, guys? Is this just some part of some bigger play? Are we being played? Is it one big con job? Is this part of the grand transhumanist agenda? Is Elon playing all of us? I don't know. The simpler explanation is there's a huge disconnect to me. And that's what I hope is the case. And I'll let you guys make up your mind on that. But, I thought, okay, I do. Good. You guys want to see those monkeys she was talking about? Because I got a clip of them. It's pretty interesting. Apparently, a lot of these monkeys died. Let's see. Where are you? I think it's this one. Yes. So this is just a little bit interesting. This is about this is the Neuralink monkeys. This has the Neuralink chip in the brain, and this is them explaining it, the trials.
He's a 9-year-old macaque. who had a Neuralink placed in each side of his brain about 6 weeks ago. If you look carefully, you can see that the fur on his head hasn't quite fully grown back yet. He's learned to interact with a computer for a tasty banana smoothie delivered through a straw. We can interact with the Neuralinks simply by pairing them to an iPhone, just as you might pair your phone to a Bluetooth speaker. The links record from more than 2,000 electrodes implanted in the regions of Page's motor cortex that coordinate hand and arm movements. Neurons in this region modulate their activity with intended hand movement. For example, some might become more active when he moves his hand up, and others when he moves it to the right. By recording from many neurons and feeding their activity into a decoder algorithm, we are able to predict Page's intended hand movements in real time. First, we calibrate the decoder by recording neural activity as Pager uses the joystick to move a cursor to targets presented on the screen. As he's playing this game, we are wirelessly streaming, in real time, the firing rates from thousands of neurons to a computer. Using these data, we calibrate the decoder by mathematically modeling the relationship between patterns of neural activity and the different joystick movements they produce. After only a few minutes of calibration, we can use the output from the decoder to move the cursor instead of the joystick. Page still moves the joystick out of habit, but as you can see, it's unplugged. He's controlling the cursor entirely with decoded neural activity. Our goal is to enable a person with paralysis to use a computer or phone with their brain activity alone. Because they wouldn't be able to move a joystick, they would calibrate the decoder by imagining hand movements to targets. One of the things the Neuralinks allow Pager to do is to play his favorite video game, Pong. To control his paddle on the right.
All right. So, they're spinning this as, well, not spinning it. The alleged treatment is supposed to be for paralysis. And there are some amazing things that could be done with it. I ain't playing with it. It's suspect as hell. That is just suspect as hell. So, yeah, I do want to play a little bit of this. It's a longer video, so I can't play all of it, but I want somebody way smarter than me to explain some of this ESG crap that's going on, because it's so important. And once you get what's happening with the ESG stuff, so much of this stuff that's happening within companies that doesn't seem like smart business moves and goes against what you'd think the shareholders would want. Once you understand the ESG stuff, all these moves make sense, and it's not a secret. Like, this crap isn't a secret. So here, let you listen to James Lindsay talk about it. I'll just play a few minutes of this. I don't know how much of it I'm going to play, because it's important. This is important. So yes, I don't know how many of you are familiar with James Lindsay. He goes down rabbit holes.
With their own customers boycotting them in a fully organic grassroots movement, the situation was already bad for Anheuser-Busch. But overnight, it just became much, much worse, and in ways that few have adequately communicated. On May 19th, the New York Post reported that Anheuser-Busch loses LGBTQ+ rating for missing key moment to stand up for their influencer of choice. If your instant reaction to that headline is so, then I don't blame you, because it doesn't look that bad compared to the countless other headlines to come out in the past few weeks. But it is, because what that headline actually says is ESG rating downgraded. Anheuser-Busch now at risk of insolvency. Of all the things that have happened to Bud Light and Anheuser-Busch so far, an argument can be made that this is the worst. and we're about to find out why. In this editorial, I will explain why the whole reason that Anheuser-Busch sponsored Mulvaney in the first place was in order to preserve their ESG rating, even if that put them at odds with their customers, and why it was all for naught, as their ESG rating just created anyway, and finally, what that means. Ever notice how huge corporations like Disney and their brands Marvel and Star Wars seem extra susceptible of going woke? Well, that is no coincidence. In our previous Bud Light video, we broke down how the ESG racket works, and you can click the banner up in the corner or the link in the description to see the full explanation. But to get everyone up to speed for the big news of today, let's do a very brief summary. Big companies have big expenses, as their product is costly to produce, and their staff, who make, sell, and run the entire organization involved in getting that product to you, all have to be paid. And here's the kicker: the bill for that is due long before the product is sold to you, the end consumer, and the company earns the revenue needed to pay those bills. In other words, even for huge corporations, or in fact even more so for huge corporations, there is a hole, a gap in the calendar between when their bills are due and when the earnings needed to pay those bills come in. And if they cannot plug that hole, they are technically insolvent. The traditional way of plugging that hole is with a credit line, issued either by the bank or some other financial institution. Through such credit lines, the company can stay in business and grow up to a healthy medium-sized point where they are sustainable and have sufficient cash reserves that they can plug that hole themselves using their own means, so they don't need credit lines anymore. But if that company then gets ambitious and wants to become a huge corporation to grow beyond what they can sustain on their own, then they need those credit lines again to prop up growth in the form of additional expansions that otherwise would be unsustainable. And that is how huge corporations are made. They live and die by their credit lines. What has happened in the last few years is that without the companies who rely on credit lines ever asking for it, the bodies issuing the credit lines and other loans have nonetheless linked them to the company's ESG score. ESG is the latest invention from the world of banking and finance, and the ESG score indicates how well the company complies with the demands under the different categories under the wider ESG umbrella. For instance, under S for social, you find diversity, equity, and inclusion, which is further divided into other categories like LGBTQIAP+, where rainbows and other public virtue signaling is required. The company has no real choice but to comply, because since the credit line is linked to their ESG score, they run the risk of losing their credit line if they don't. That may sound unfair.
You guys following with this? And the key word is that equity word that's always hanging out that you keep hearing over and over and over. And James Lindsay doesn't call it DEI, he calls it DIE, diversity, inclusion, and equity. Anyway.
Companies that always took their credit lines for granted never signed up for suddenly having to adopt this ESG stuff, but that's okay. The financial institutions pushing for this know this is new and difficult stuff, which experienced and competent marketers and managers cannot be expected to suddenly become experts on. That's why they recommend these companies hire HR and marketing personnel from the right universities and with the right ESG indoctrination. ESG training, as they will know which policies to adopt and which further personnel to hire in order to ensure the ESG score is retained, even if these people who know how to evolve the company are otherwise incompetent in what is supposed to be their field of expertise.
And I would say the most important thing about this job is that you have to prioritize bringing other people along the way. Community and women, it doesn't mean anything unless I am positively impacting.
To a healthy medium-sized point where they are sustainable and have sufficient and from advertisement.
A365
do great things, but care about each other.
Sorry, I screwed that up. I think that's the Bud Light lady that was responsible for the Dylan Mulvaney crap that started driving it into the ground.
And protect each other and are kind and good. And I try to bring that, honestly. Female representation in this role has been something I've been really committed to. And what I brought to that was a belief in, okay, what does evolve and elevate mean? It means inclusivity. It means shifting the tone. It means having a campaign that's truly inclusive and feels lighter and brighter and different and appeals to women and to men.
This month I celebrated my...
Why do all Marxists look like that? She looks like Jacinda Ardern from New Zealand. That crazy horse-looking lady.
Day 365 of womanhood, and Bud Light sent me possibly the best gift ever, a can with my face on it. Love ya! Cheers! Go team! Whatever team you love, I love too. Okay.
What you just saw was an example of an ESG-driven advertisement. Other recent examples of this comes from Miller Lite that wants to shred history, from Starbucks where Indian dads go to accept that their sons go trans, and from Dove. And yes, I will get back to those in separate videos. Please like this video, help share it, especially on Facebook, and then hit subscribe if you haven't done so already, so you don't miss out on my future breakdowns and analysis of those. But now that we've caught up with how Anheuser-Busch looking to retain the ESG score upon which their credit lines are dependent is what led to the Mulvaney sponsorship in the first place, let's see how it was all for naught. If Alyssa Heinerscheid had hired anyone at all that were actually competent within the field of marketing in her marketing department, then maybe things would have played out differently. Maybe they would have found some other way to promote Bud Light which would have retained the ESG score without causing the now ex-Bud Light drinkers to recoil. But that's what happens when the VP appears to be incompetent and hires nothing but rejects and other women that share her values and her worldview. She sparked a 100% organic, grassroots viral movement against not just Bud Light, but against Anheuser-Busch and parent company AB InBev at large.
So it's truly saddening that with the woke Anheuser-Busch Bud Light situation, come to do a little research and find out that my favorite beer is under the Anheuser-Busch umbrella.
You're one of the ones I drink besides Bud Light.
So, cheers.
See ya.
No more Anheuser-Busch products in this house.
Nope.
Want to play the woke game?
I don't get why you wouldn't drink it if it's already at your house. Why are you going to pour it down the drain? I don't even drink. Why are you going to pour it down the drain? At least drink the last ones. Jeez.
It's fine. Not spending my money on it.
We've all seen the viral videos and they are amazing. But even the little viral support they may get, Anheuser-Busch would probably rather do without.
All right, everyone. So it's Friday night. I'm getting ready to go out. This is the look. I'm feeling cunt. But before I go out, I've got a pregame. And the only way I pregame is with an ice cold Bud Light. Ugh.
Yo, is that full pregame with 4 tall cans? That's gnarly. Okay, you're getting sauced.
So good. Happy Friday.
All of this puts Anheuser-Busch between a rock.
Nobody thinks Budweiser's good. Nobody.
And a hard place, or rather between their customers and between the issuers of their ESG-linked credit lines. I kind of predicted what was going to happen in our previous video. Let's replay what I said there. Because of the customer backlash, a number of NGOs, ESG awarding bodies, and other lobbyists expect Anheuser-Busch to stand by and support Mulvaney. But if they were to do that, then their remaining customers could flee, putting the whole company at risk in the medium to long term. Having an ESG-linked credit line won't save the company if there aren't enough customers to maintain their business. But those customers demand an apology and an all-out distancing from Mulvaney. But if Anheuser-Busch were to do that, their ESG score would go down the drain, taking their credit line with it. Having customers won't help the day when they need a credit line without having one. As such, Anheuser-Busch have chosen, or rather, due to lack of options, gone with something of a middle ground, pleading ignorance, which is bullshit, blaming a rogue agency for the advertisement, all while soft distancing themselves from it. This, if anything, made matters worse, as it didn't fool their own ex-customers to come back. But it did prompt visible members of the LGBTQIAP+ community to join in on the boycott, because how dare they not stand by Mulvaney? Now, returning to current events and the article that introduced this video, this is exactly what has happened. Anheuser-Busch loses LGBTQ+ rating for missing key moment to stand up for Dylan Mulvaney. The May 19th article reads, "The nation's largest gay..."
Yeah, Roger Parks, thank you. Yeah, don't dump out beer. Why are you going to do that? Drink it and drink Bud Light and your hair will fall out. And you'll start wearing women's clothing. Yep, that's what happens. It infects you.
The advocacy group stripped Anheuser-Busch of a key metric following the beer giant's backpedaling over Bud Light's controversial tie-up with trans influencer Dylan Mulvaney. The Human Rights Campaign, which issues a corporate equality index to rate companies on their policies toward workers in the LGBTQ community, told the Belgian-based brewer that it will slash its perfect 100 score, according to a letter leaked to USA Today on Thursday. Moving to USA Today and their May 18th article.
So you guys following this? This Dylan Mulvaney crap was all just, nobody wanted to do it. So all this crap that you're seeing behind, that doesn't seem to make sense. That seems out of place. Why is this stuff being jammed down my throat everywhere I go, everywhere I turn? Because there literally is an agenda being pushed. And at the root of all of this, it is Marxism. Just, unfortunately, you have to put lots of hours into studying this crap. Lots of hours to be able to get it. You got to actually read Marx. You got to read Capital. You got to freaking, there's a lot you got to do. You got to read Trotsky. Freaking, got to read Hegel. There's all sorts of, you got to put in a lot of work. And they were once you recognize the language that they use and the whole purpose behind their crap, this stuff all makes perfect sense what they're doing. And it's not some weird abstract far-fetched idea. It's this ESG crap is dangerous, folks.
Bud Light makers stripped of LGBTQ+ rating for caving to Dylan Mulvaney backlash. Eric Blom of the Human Rights Campaign is quoted as saying, "Anheuser-Busch had a key moment to really stand up and demonstrate the importance of their values of diversity, equity, and inclusion, and their response really fell short." In other words, one of the ESG score awarding bodies just punished Anheuser-Busch for failing to stand by and support Mulvaney, even if doing so would have cost them what little remains of their customers. That's the irony here.
So they're put in a rock and a hard place. They had to either choose between their runway funding to keep them going or their customer base. And they tried to please both masters. And again, he who serves two masters disappoints both. So they lost their ESG score in the end, and they lost their client base. They lost both. What's Elon trying to do over at Twitter? He's trying to do the subscription Twitter Blue thing, and he's trying to bring advertisers back by hiring a World Economic Forum ESG touting Linda. This ain't good.
Bush only went down this path in the first place in order to preserve their ESG score, but because they didn't go far enough in
Yeah, now to think about it. Is Elon pulling a Budweiser right now? Oh, crap.
excluding and alienating their own customers. They lost that rating anyway. So what does this mean? This downgrade alone doesn't mean that Anheuser-Busch will lose any and all credit lines overnight. They would have had to actively distance themselves from both Mulvaney and every other aspect of ESG for that to happen. But it does mean that Anheuser-Busch are now on notice and expected to do better. They will be told in no uncertain terms that they will have to get their ESG score back up, or else. But, of course, doing that while their customers are fleeing to the point that analysts downgraded Anheuser-Busch stock might prove a challenge. And now, this Human Rights Commission, as well as other ESG score awarding bodies, will be expecting them to pull out all the stops for Pride Month. So it will be interesting to see how they will manage this. We will, of course, keep you up to date as events unfold. But for now, let me know your thoughts on all of this in the comments.
That was a very interesting and informative video. Let's actually go. I want to give this guy credit since we just watched his entire video. So who was this? I want to get you. If you guys get a chance, go over to this guy's YouTube channel and subscribe. Stand by. It's taking a while here. Nope, don't play. Okay. I just want to figure out what channel it is. So yeah, this ESG stuff is very. This is, so the channel is Midnight's Edge. Jeez. Stop. Okay. Midnight's Edge is the channel. 235,000 subscribers. This fool don't need my help. But I am borrowing your video. I hope you don't mind. I probably already got taken off of YouTube. Am I still playing over there on YouTube? I don't know. We'll see. Yeah, I don't care. That to me is it's very eye-opening. You know, it seems like there's these governing bodies that are in charge of funding loans for these large companies. And in order to maintain that funding, they have to jump through a bunch of hoops. And they have all these equity quotas and diversity quotas and things they have to meet. And, well, it's clearly driving away some companies' client base. And, well, that can be a problem, right? But Elon's in the same boat because he has funding from advertisers, right? That are still trying, that each of those individual advertisers, the big companies like Disney that he used as his own example, well, they have an ESG agenda that they want to push. So they're not going to advertise on Twitter unless Elon plays ball with their ESG agenda. Meanwhile, he wants Twitter Blue subscribers, right? Well, if their ESG agenda ramps up, they're going to be suspending Twitter Blue subscribers like me for a week. And that's the thing, too. I paid for a month. You suspended me for a week. Do I get $3 back? Like, seriously, what? How does that work? I'm a paying customer. So that's the thing, too. I'm paying for a service. I clearly didn't violate your terms of service. I can't get an answer from anybody at customer service. And you just took my money and didn't provide the service that I paid for. am I going to have to go to small claims court for $2.75? I'll do it. You guys don't think I'll do it? I'll do it. I'll freaking do it. I'll make it so Twitter has to send somebody to Santa Cruz small claims court and tell me why they didn't render my 1 week of service that I paid for. Like, really? I'm not really going to do that. Well, I don't know. Maybe I will. Maybe I will get that petty. But, like, why? Why? What's the deal? You know, and you want to expand this platform and make it for live streaming, which I'm doing right now, and video content and hosting and all that kind of crap. Well, when you're talking live, it's a whole different thing when you're talking about words you can't say. So are my live streams going to be censored in the same way that tweets are? You know, am I going to have to watch my language that much? I can't. Like, I have to really sit there and think about my tweets now. I'm like, okay, what can I not say to this douchebag that will probably mass report me too? Because that's the thing that the left does that the right doesn't really do so much. So it's like, I think that triggers an algorithm. If a big account's like, hey, let's all mass report this guy for this tweet right here where he called me a doo-doo head, and then everybody reports the tweet where it called somebody a doo-doo head, and it triggers the algorithm and it gives them a suspension, even though it didn't violate the terms of service, but they did a mass reporting campaign thing. Well, that is a whole issue as well. The Twitter censorship issue is definitely back, and Elon has a problem. If the goal for Linda is to bring advertisers back on board, and Elon's alleged goal is to have a open public square, free for everybody to speak. Well, those two ideas are completely conflicting with one another. They're not going to work. Linda is ESG minded. ESG and free speech are like oil and water. They do not mix. So this move makes no sense whatsoever. And I don't trust it. And what you would expect to happen after you bring an ESG person on board to run the content moderation of your company, well, you're getting exactly what you'd expect. So I don't buy it. Twitter's not the free speech platform. Elon is not a free speech absolutist. Free speech is not paramount to Elon, in his own words. Based on recent actions he's taken, hiring Linda, and the things that are currently happening at Twitter, censoring people and suspending people for silly reasons. So that's kind of it. Like, that's, I mean, I hope I rounded it all in there. It's Elon's got this ideal that he claims, which is his parameters, his free speech parameters for the Twitter platform are supposed to be as close to the law within the country the tweeter resides in. That's not happening at all. And I would not expect that to change while Linda is in charge. So watch what you say, folks. I guess you're going to have to walk on eggshells, use numbers, remember pager code? You're going to have to start talking in pager code again. Like, you have to try and trip up the algorithm, use brackets, use asterisks, use parentheses, all sorts of crap. And it sucks. That's what you got to do now, because Elon is not what he claims to be. And the only way I can see for him to change that, in my mind, is to fire Linda before she's even been hired. That's it. That's all I can see. Because there's a direct correlation there, it seems. That's the new thing that was introduced into the system that triggered all these recent events. So, yeah, if you want to earn your trust back, fire Linda. Hire somebody with the balls to tell these advertisers to kick rocks if they're not about free speech and liberty. Take your ESG and shove it up your ass. So that's about it. Yeah. I'll call it a little bit of an early night, folks. Give you 10 minutes off. But you know how we do it. We're going to end the night with a joke from the greatest book ever written, The Truth About Chuck Norris. And we'll just open up to a random one and see what we got here. Alrighty. Let's see. All right. You guys ready? You guys ready for the Chuck Norris joke? Someone once tried to tell Chuck Norris that roundhouse kicks aren't the best way to kick someone. This has been recorded by historians as the worst mistake anyone has ever made. And on that note, folks, stay CaliBased.